Good afternoon, everyone. This is Wayne Childs. I'm Director of Strategic Enterprise for ICC Innovation. Thank you very much for joining us today for another webinar in our series. Today, we're going to be talking about mobile inspections with a highlight on Municity, a product that ICC Innovation offers. With me today is Maria Dalal. She's pre-sales engineer for ICC Community Development Solutions. She's our resident Municity subject matter expert. She does demos, webinars, and she's going to give you a fantastic um, representation through demonstration of the power that Municity can bring to mobile inspection. So, to sort of just frame today's conversation generically, mobile inspections, why, the benefits. Mobile inspections offer great improvements in efficiency and service levels, not only for inspectors, but also for applicants and our constituents in general. So, some of these features that are groundbreaking with mobile inspections include allowing people to schedule in their field, manage their own schedule. It eliminates those bottlenecks waiting in the office. If you have to go back to the office, even if you're able to receive phone calls, if you're not using mobile inspection, you may have to go back and reference your calendar on your computer. And then when you get there, there are notes waiting for you, phone calls, messages from other people on your team. And it ends up that commute to and from the field to the office usually ends up with bottlenecks. If we are using mobile inspection, we're able to eliminate a lot of those bottlenecks by allowing scheduling right there in the field. You might be really close to your your next possible inspection and be able to save time in the route you're running that day by getting right over to a nearby one and just changing your schedule a little bit. It allows for live video capture. So this allows for live remote collaboration. If you've got folks in the office, let's say there's somebody you want to talk to that has subject matter expertise in a particular segment of the inspection, they can see the live video that you're capturing and collaborate with you while you're on site, or just giving you more flexibility if you have more junior inspectors out there and then you want to help manage them and help manage what's going on with the quality of the inspection. You can do that. It's a really powerful tool. Inspection record management. So with this tool, you can store videos, photos, any notes that you take during the inspection directly in that software so that you have them attached to those records for reference, and it creates a wonderful audit trail. We know that often, through the community development process, we're wanting to look backwards in time and see what did we see on this inspection, what were any issues, and have that documentation handy for us. It cuts down on having many different places where we have to store this information and try to recall it from. This software helps lower administrative costs through reducing paper handling, multiple copies, elimination of duplicate entries. There's workflow built in so that you just enter information once and reuse it many times. And again, it cuts down on having to sort of build up this queue of paperwork or information that then has to be processed only once you're back in the office. If you keep that workflow moving while you're remote, it cuts down on that bottleneck when we get back in the office. And it also allows for instant access to your building and local code content. You can access permits, you can access previous violations, and check the code while you're in the field. So some really powerful tools that help make us more efficient in our operations. So a little bit about ICC Innovation and what we feel like we bring to specifically to mobile inspections, but also to the entire community development process. Um, code code content is guaranteed up to date. Um, Codes remain at the center. All of our documentation, our process, um, that's really the kernel of everything from codes to planning to building and inspections and code enforcement and records management. We believe as creators of codes, as publishers of codes, and providers of tools to access these codes, it really positions us well um, to be experts in this field. So what we see here is the ICC innovation ecosystem. And what it's representing is the multi-layered expertise and support that ICC innovation offers. So as you look at this diagram from left to right, it's replicating the community development process. So everything from code compliance, pre-application references and database, like repositories for where building codes and zoning and land use municipal codes, where they allow access for applicants or staff who are responsible for enforcing those codes, and for applicants understanding what applies to the projects they're applying for, right through application submission and review. So this really cool tool we offer through a partnership with Archistar is drawing completeness checks to make sure that all drawings submitted actually meet the requirements of all of our local jurisdictions, and also code compliance using AI to make sure that plans, site plans, and building plans meet all the code criteria that they have to meet. We're moving right through final plan approval, permitting, remote inspection. So that's where we are today in this continuum. We're talking about Municity, and we're talking about the remote inspection space. But we also offer, through a partner called DigiPlan, we offer full plan review processes, which these solutions can all be integrated into workflows that make sense. We can move over to public records access. So Municity filing documents through integration into document management software like Laserfiche, which we offer, that also allows for workflows and repositories that also help inform code enforcement and property maintenance with all of those records that are required. So with ICC innovation, not only do you get these technical solutions, you're not dealing with strictly a technology company. You're really dealing with a community development expert who is also offering foundational professional development to the membership, training, certification. As I mentioned before, we're also the record of source for the building and life safety codes and municipal codes like local zoning and development codes, which we make accessible via API to any of your third-party software that we might not offer. We're not looking to make sure that you fit or you use all of the modules out of our ecosystem, but we certainly offer most of the major components that inform a truly well-functioning community development process. So I want to touch on our upcoming webinars before I toss it over to Maria to go through today's topic. So please join us for these sessions if any of these are of interest to you. Modernizing Public Access, Portals, Transparency, and Community Engagement on Tuesday, August 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we have one that I expect to be quite heavily attended, AI for Local Government on Wednesday, September 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you get a virtual seat for that one, because that's a really big topic. When we're out in the field at events, we certainly have a lot of interest in that topic. And we can provide some guidance and some best practices in that space. And lastly, Municity for Modern Digital Permitting. That's on demand. We just had that session a few weeks ago, and you can check that out in case you weren't able to join us previously. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Maria for today's demonstration.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne. And thank you, everyone, for attending today. As Wayne mentioned, today we're going to be focusing on mobile inspections. I could talk about Municity for hours, but we only have so much time today. But before we run you through an inspection process, I do just want to talk very briefly about Municity, how to set up an inspection, and then we'll make a switch over here. I am going to be running this off of a PC today, but we are going to be, excuse me, using some settings to create a mobile interface for my screen, which you guys will see momentarily. So let's get started. The first thing that we're looking at here that you all are looking at is the Municity desktop interface when a user first logs in. So the first thing you'll be greeted with is searches. If I was looking for a particular inspection, I could set my drop down to inspections, look for it by name. But we'll come back to all of this. First, I want to show you how do we put our inspections into the system? Is there flexibility in recurrences for my inspections? Can I have some inspections have checklist items? Can I have some inspections have a different reinspection period? The answer to all of that is yes, and we have given you the tools really to be able to tailor that to unique inspections across different departments for different use cases. So I'm going to be navigating down to this admin section. Users with that permission are going to see that tab, which will open up an additional menu for you. I'm going right into here, set up entity types. What this is going to do is give me an interface where I can go through my system. I can add departments. So here we have an inspections department. I can put operating hours if we are going to allow for information share through the public portal or anything else of that nature. But the more important part here is this inspection section. As you can see, it's going to open up a listing here of all my different inspection types that I've already put into the system. I can create new inspections with names. I can tie them to specific departments. So your health departments versus your building departments versus your planning departments can all own and maintain different types of inspections that you have. You can add required contacts. So if for one department we need the owner, the other department we need the contractor, you can ensure that all of those are added at the time of the inspection creation. Same thing with descriptions. You can add defaulted inspectors. This will pull from your internal user list of users that are coded as inspectors. So if you have certain department inspectors that manage specific types, you can make sure that they always populate when those are created. We also have assignees, which is very similar, but if you have maybe like a scheduling technician versus the inspector, the technician would be the assignee that gets the notifications that can then assign the inspector. We do then have things like setting your recurrences. So again, those health inspections, fire safety inspections, property maintenance, rental, public assembly, anything that you may need to reoccur at a specific cadence, you can set that within here. There's even a little toggle here to make sure you're only working on weekdays. You can categorize your inspections. So if the building department has their building inspections, I want all my electrical inspections to be under the same umbrella. You're able to do so. Then we have an item here called checklist items. So what this does is it allows you to add point by point rather, checklists to your inspections that we can tie them to ordinances, which we'll talk about momentarily. You can also edit inspections in here. You can hit this edit button and it will open up a specific inspection for you. So again, if we're resetting a recurrence or adding checklist items, you're able to edit the existing inspections. You can duplicate inspections. So a lot of freedom in here. You'll see there's a section here for ordinance codes as well. This is where you'll find the items that you can add to the checklists. So all of this is to say you can have by department, by type, really unique processes that are going to address the needs of that specific inspection that you are going to be creating. In that vein, I'm going to come out of my admin section here, and I just want to show there is also an ordinance section just purely for lookups. With a Municity subscription, as we are part of the ICC, You get access for up to 20 of the digital ICC code books that we can import in here. You just see a source list in here of up to 20 of the code books that you could click into, and it would show you all of those ordinances for reference. These can also be brought into printables, the checklist, as I mentioned. So again, a lot of room here for you to build really custom processes depending on your departmental needs. Okay, so I am now going to switch over to a mobile interface because we are going to look at an inspection, conduct an inspection all from, let's see, we can do a tablet environment here. So I'm going to switch us to an iPad mini. Let me turn it on its side as I'll be using it in landscape. That's my personal preference. As you can see, I can also toggle it to portrait. Municity has an adaptive interface, so it's going to adjust to whatever aspect ratio that you're working off of. And just for funsies, I can also show you it can adapt to iPhone, it can adapt to a Samsung Galaxy. So you can use whatever mobile device that you're comfortable with, the system will adjust. All right. So here I've got a general inspection search up, but I am more of a dashboard person. Let's say I like to look at a listing of everything that's assigned to me. I'm going to head up to this top corner here where I have my three dots. It's going to open up my side menu. Dashboards is an area where you can find aggregates of pretty much anything that you're collecting in Municity. We give you options here to create custom dashboards if need be. That will allow you to control exactly what columns show up within here. But users also can drag and drop columns from their dashboards or export these to CSV. But essentially, this is a dynamic listing of my department inspections. I can sort off of any of these. This link button here where you see the little box. If I tap on that, it's going to open an inspection in a separate tab so that I can look through. So this was a rental registry inspection. I can see it's open. It was assigned to Matt when it was scheduled. It has a nice little items tab here. So if there was something like a fee or anything of that nature, checklist item, documents, signatures, I can capture all that within here. And then all inspections do also have this handy dandy little media tab here. This is where we can upload any sort of documents, photos. I can go into my camera roll here and add this picture of this above ground pool, upload it, and it will get added right to my inspection. But where I believe most of your inspectors will be operating from is going to be this shared inspection calendar right here. This is when inspections are assigned. They will show up here within this calendar. Users will have a settings gear. Oh, I'm sorry, that is system settings. I want calendar settings where you can add other contacts. So if you would prefer to see what all the other inspectors in your department are doing, or if maybe you're a supervisor and you want to see your staff's inspections populate, you can add contacts, assign them a color, and their assignments will populate here. You can also filter what kinds of inspections show up on your calendar. So if I only want to see past ones or open ones, you can also, sorry here, you can also turn on and off what types of items show up on your calendar. So if my primary function is an inspector, then what I would say is I only want inspections on here, maybe tasks if that's part of it. But you can configure this as you need. As you can see, there's also blocked days to prevent you from getting scheduled. So users have the appropriate settings within here. There is also this yellow button you may have noticed labeled unscheduled inspections. This, depending on the day range that you put in here, or the filter, will give you a running list of inspections that exist in the system but are not scheduled. That will allow you to come in and edit them, and you can actually put a schedule on them. So if you come from a jurisdiction that works off of a queue, like all inspections need to be done within 30 days of creation, and you have a tech that goes through and assigns at will, they can do it off a dashboard. off that unscheduled inspections, and they can add them to the calendar, assign them, and then they will show up as they are for the rest of us to conduct our inspection. All right, so let's see what I have today. I have a couple of fire safety inspections. Now, something to note about Municity is your inspections will more than likely be attached to some sort of parent item. In Municity, Municity organizes data hierarchically. So when I say parent-child, you'll think of the inspection as my primary interest. The parent of my inspection would be a permit application. Child of my inspection might be a violation. So every item in Municity is related to each other. And we try to keep it nice and organized for reporting purposes, which is why when I clicked on that inspection, I received this pop-up that says it needs to be a reminder rather that it needs to be edited from within the property compliance application that it's attached to. No problem. I can just hit edit and workflow and the system will auto route me there. So this has opened up my property compliance application, which is essentially like a registration or a permit type that I have in here. You can see that I have a workflow set up here. So we are in a review process of this application. It requires my fees to be paid and my inspections to be complete. That is why when I scroll down here, I have some yellow steps that say in progress. I can't move forward unless these items are completed. And my task right now is to complete these inspections. So to do so, I can do it from the sidebar. I like to have it open in a different tab. So I tap on my link button and it's going to open my tab for me. On that note, you'll see that it does open your everything else on your little clipboard here. I can tab between different items here as I see fit. But let's take a look at this inspection here. Just starting at the top, this is going to show me a contact, the address it's at. You'll also see things like a little notification bell. There is options here to show your inspection on the map. You can also move the inspection. Let's see if you had an occupant or something of that nature or an address change where you're moving items, you can do that. And then there's a little print button here. We will talk about templates after we conduct our inspection, but that would be if you had some kind of intent to inspect letter, violation letter, etc. You'd be able to generate it right off of the inspection here. But let's continue our scroll. So on my overview of my inspection, this is where I'm going to find basic data. All of these fields are highly configurable. That means depending on your department, depending on your inspection type, your jurisdiction, you might capture different information here. You will almost always have type, status, assignment, and times, but if you want a field here for details of the person who requested it, property details that get carried from the parent parcel or permit, all of that can be rolled down here as well. It just depends on what kind of information that you need front and center on your inspection here. The inspection also has an items tab. This is where you can see everything connected to that inspection. So here I can see Bruce Banner is the contact. That's who I'm looking for. That's great. And then if I had other items in here, like checklist items, fees, if I need to capture a signature, I could do so from my menu. But this one's a pretty simple inspection here. The media tab, which I had mentioned before, this is where you can upload documents. You can create folders. So if you were doing, Wayne had mentioned capturing video. If you were to keep a folder that said video, a folder for static photo, a folder for documents, so again, an intent to inspect letter or something like that, you can. I can upload documents or create documents. Again, can just add it right from my device camera roll here and upload it, and it will create a media within here. While we're on the topic of media, I'm just going to click into this so that you can see a particular setting here. There is a drop down that will allow you to make this media public, internal, or just internal plus the contact. The reason I bring this up is because when you are setting up your inspection types, you also do have the opportunity to make them viewable publicly. So from the Municity public portal, excuse me, which we'll be doing another session on to talk more in depth, you can elect to have data from your system be visible. That is to mitigate, phone calls, emails, FOIAs, where you can have that kind of accessible information available where someone can type in a property address, look at the inspection, and then they'd be able to see pictures and whatnot. So almost everything has that public-private setting on it, which will allow you as the user to determine just how transparent you would like to be in terms of your public portal. The other item I want to show here is the comments field. So comments is going to be a nice little built-in piece of communication here. This allows the inspector, let's say I had a question for maybe the permit tech, for my manager, for another inspector, maybe I took over for an inspector. I can choose an internal person and I can send them a message. They would get notified of that and be able to message me back. I can be on site, they can be in the office, all of this can be happening. You can also choose the external user, so the applicant, you can create groups in here, so like a group chat between your contractor or the contractor, the inspector, and the homeowner. And then even these different conversations you can set to public, private in terms of what you would like to be viewed by non-staff on the inspection record. Oh, and there is timeline. This I just like to bring up because it's on literally everything in here. When I start making changes, it'll start capturing status changes I've made, any sort of notes that I've captured when I made them, where I made them. So everything has a little bit of an audit trail in here as well. Just something I like to call out. Okay, so in terms of completing my inspection, this will be up to you jurisdictionally in terms of what type of data satisfies my conditions for completing my inspection. This one I have here is pretty simple. I don't really have a checklist I need to go into. If I could create items in here. So if I wanted to create different, like a stringent check source to go through, I can add them and check them off. But in the cases of like your typical building inspection or what have you, you can have fields here for notes, results, conditions, whatever you would call those that you would need to be pulled into maybe a summary document or a printout or something of that nature. The user can either type, so when the keyboard rolls up, you could type as normal. You can enable the dictation on your tablet device, so that little microphone you can speak into and it will dictate for you what your notes are. But regardless, those will get added in here, so you can add all of your different inspectors' notes, results. You can say everything looks great. And then what will control whether the inspection passes or fails will be this status button here. When you're configuring your inspections, again, you will choose what is going to populate in the status fields and what they mean in terms of what's an open inspection, what's a failed inspection, what's a closed inspection. So for example, a reinspect is equal to an open, but when I pull reports, it shows as a reinspection to indicate to me that it has already gone through an inspection, but it holds it in an open status, so it populates on my calendar, if those are my settings, etc. So once you're done, you can change your status by tapping on it with your finger and then hitting that save button. That will pass your inspection and put it in a pass condition, which will unlock my workflow. This is also because I have it set to a recurring inspection because it's a fire safety. I have it resetting every single year. So this pop-up is alerting me of that and letting me or asking me if I want to do that, and I do, so I can create that. I might have to go back in and perform some other settings in there in terms of my configuration, but I've got my inspection in here. Again, any photos I need to add, I can add right in here. And then if I had a final printout, they would end up here. Um, let's talk about those printouts for a moment. I'm going to go in back into my admin settings. And here we have document management. We have a template creator. So if I wanted to go to my inspections, I would be able to create a brand new template. So here I would want this to be inspection letter. It's going to be attached to my inspection. So that means every single time I create an inspection, this letter will be an option for me. One time to inspect. You can add my template. And now from here, I have the option to choose from my header and footer choices, which we would have uploaded in here, the body of text. So whatever kind of notification you want to send them. And then what it does is it puts it all together in one giant document for me. So let's get these in here, save and close. And then I have an inspection document in there. Alrighty, let's go back home here. Let's go back to my clipboard actually. Now my inspection letter's in there and I can generate that document if I need to. In terms of things like signatures or anything else special that you would like in here, those are items that we can certainly configure for you. So that, and then we do have a template designer with the elevated tools of Municity. If you wanted to upload something that you currently have and just include it in the Municity templates, you can do that. This, as you can see, it also does hold a copy of your letter in your media tab. We want Municity to act as your sole source of truth here so that you would be able to go back in, look at information, report on information historically, etc. In that vein, reporting. So if you want something simple, again, we can go to these dashboards. If I want to see like inspections coming up within 60 days or recently passed inspections, we can create dashboards for that where you can track them. They're living, breathing. So as statuses change, they'll fall off one, go on to the other. We have some inspection firms that will have a dashboard dedicated for every status for every department so that they can track and watch them as they go through each arm of the process there. But we do also have a nice built-in reporting area here. This is canned reporting that has a lot of nice filtering options. So you'd be able to come in here. I can go down to inspections. We can look at our inspections report. Let's see if I have any data in here. Let's do 2025 and see what pops for us. But as you can see, there's also, sorry, filters in here. So I can do it by inspection type. You can sort by status. You can add, I want inspections that are specifically related to permits, or I want inspections that are specifically related to property compliances. So you can really come in here and tailor it down. These can export out into a CSV. There's also a history tab here, so you can see if I wanted to see when was the last time my inspection report was run, you can see those dates and you can look at what that was. And then the last thing I want to show you guys in terms of finding your information, I'm just going to head over to search here and toggle on my advanced search. This now opens up complex query building for me. And I know that's a lot of words, but it basically means once I have my inspections, I can now add a bunch of different statements to filter my inspection down to something very precise. So I can look for inspections of a certain type. I'll look at my complaint follow-up inspections. And I want ones that have an open status. And I want ones that are attached to permits. So I'd come down here to parent and I would add permit. And I want ones that are on a date. I want ones from like yesterday or whatever. Once you have your search, you can also save your search. So you can name it with a description, Or you can also, with our advanced tools, you can export your search. So let's say you spent a lot of time and you built a really nice query here for your particular inspection department. You can create a report off of it, which means it'll be a repeatable running report from the report section, or you can create a dashboard. Creating a dashboard kicks it over here where you'll then be able to grab it and pin it and use it all the time. Other users will have access to it. So you guys can build whatever kind of searches, you can build whatever kind of inspections you need. There's a lot of customization here. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention, there's also a built-in map. We have a built-in GIS viewer here where you can show your inspections to populate here. We have different display options and different information options. So if I wanted to do street view and click into my map, I could. It'll give me that Google Triad view depending on my location. It'll primarily show your base map here. If you have other layers you'd like us to import for your viewing, you can. And then as you can see, this is accessible here to me on my mobile. So if I wanted to go to an information view and be like, what's happening with this parcel, I can open up and grab information from my GIS source, or I can go to property view here. And what the system will do is it will open my record and I can actually open the parcel from here and I can view histories, see what's going on with it. I can look at permits, inspections, and just a reminder, you guys, I'm doing this all from my mobile device. So whether I'm at the desktop in the office, whether I'm in the field, I have access to all of my different tools in here. All right. And I believe that is my time. So I'm going to kick it back over to Wayne. And then we'll go into questions and answers. Just as a reminder for you all, if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them in the questions tab. I know it's a new go-to webinar interface, so you should see that tab up at the top. And feel free to enter those at will, and we will hang around and answer them as long as we need to. Oh, looks like we actually lost Wayne momentarily. As he comes back, I will pop open the questions box here. How many states or townships are using this right now? So our mobile services, we have, of Municity clients, we have just shy of 300. And then in terms of those that are using the Municity mobile, I would say 75% of them. Most of them operate off of tablets. We have some that are phone users, some that are laptop users, but almost, yeah, I would say a large swath of our Municity base utilizes the mobile entity to conduct their in-field inspections or whatever else they might need it for.
Hello, Maria. I'm back.
All right.
All right. I'm just going to wrap up. I have a few more things I want to show everybody regarding mobile, and then we can get back to those questions. I showed at the very beginning of when I framed today's conversation, I showed a slide that showed the ICC innovation continuum of solutions. So I just want to show you a few of those and some of the commitment that ICC innovation has put into mobile solutions. So what you see here is Digital Codes Premium. So if you have a Digital Codes Premium subscription, you can access all of that code content digitally through a mobile device. So all of the mobile solutions I'm going to show you are available on Apple iOS or Google Android operating systems. What DCP on the mobile devices gives you is portability, first and foremost, right? The freedom from the paper book, multiple paper books. You can download all of your books that you have access to digitally on your phone, and it just gives you an amazing level of freedom and not being burdened by that. With all of those important notes, like the dog ears, the notes, all of the annotations that you would keep with within the digital application, you have those on your mobile device. So all those bookmarks, you can print from it, you can copy the content, you can pass that along, you can highlight. And you have access to things like the expert interpretations and change tracking within the code and any of the up-to-date errata, which you might not have with print if you're not spending time at the copy machine, making those copies and embedding them or getting new print volumes. You're dynamically keeping that code content up to date on the move. The next one is the eCode 360 search. That is available on mobile devices. So thousands and thousands of municipal codes that are hosted on eCode 360 are available on the mobile app for Apple or Android devices. You can locate codes by zip code, or better yet, using the location proximity inherent in your phone. You can look up codes if you happen to be in a jurisdiction you're not sure. Am I in the city? Am I in the town? Am I in the village? Not quite sure. Am I by the line? It's going to tell you where you are and what codes apply there. Of course, you can search as usual with municipality name. This app is free, totally free of charge. You just go to the requisite stores, download, and you're ready to go. Once again, you're avoiding referencing the bulky municipal code books. Municipal codes, that would be a bear to be able to carry around 5 or 6 different municipal codes if you were moving around, wanting to check out land use or zoning codes. So quite an advantage there, getting all that municipal code in your pocket. Um, we also offer Laserfiche mobile applications. Laserfiche offers 2 distinct experiences. It allows you to traditionally access your repository. So all of your documents and your document management through a traditional repository, and it allows you a streamlined view of forms. So you can manage tasks, you can monitor your inbox, you can complete tasks that are assigned to you, and you can submit new forms processes all on the go. You can browse through in the traditional view, you can browse through your Laserfiche repository. You can submit and approve forms. You can add new entries and documents, like you can snap photos and include those, download those into your repository. And, you can start business processes away from the office. So very similar to what we looked at today in Municity, it's giving you the power to get your work done outside the office and not bottlenecking you when you return. Lastly, I will show you MapLink briefly. MapLink is an interactive zoning map that allows you to check zoning regulations in the field. Again, you can enter addresses or you can use geolocation inherent on the mobile device. There's a little pin tool that shows you parcel you're standing next to. So if you're out in the field looking around and you're standing on a street and you're looking at a parcel, you can check what zoning regulations apply to that parcel down to the parcel level. You're using only up-to-date content. As the code is updated in an online code portal, eCode 360, it's also updated in the MapLink site. So you're able to compare dimensional requirements, allowable uses, and development procedures all on the fly and share those with collaborators out in the field. And the great thing about this application is ICC Code Solutions does all the heavy lifting. So we build these sites for you using your municipality's existing GIS maps, all of your zoning shape files, any overlays that apply to how you read the zoning or land use code. And we maintain this as the zoning code is amended. We get those updates and we make sure that that code content is kept up to date. So in wrapping up, before we get to any other questions, I just wanted to close in thanking all of you for attending today's session, Mobile Inspections with Municity. I hope that you picked up a few tips on how to work more efficiently in the field and providing superior service to your constituents and empowering your staff to work as efficiently as possible. If you want to make any connections here, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the presentation or any of the products that I talked about today. That email address is wchilds@iccsafe.org. If you have any specific Municity questions for Maria, Maria did a fantastic job covering mobile inspections, but you might have some questions outside of mobile inspections. That email address is mdilal@iccsafe.org. If you had any general questions about solutions, feel free to go on iccsafe.org or iccodesolutions.org. So at this time, I guess I would pass it over to James and Maria and see if we have any questions that need to be addressed in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne. We do have a couple more in here. So one is a two-parter here. Is there anything to mandate municipalities get on board with mobile inspections? That is a good question. That is going to operate by location and jurisdiction. I think a lot of it is preference. A lot of it is depending on, what kinds of grants are in an area for updating technology. So there's lots of opportunity out there, and I know there's lots of desire out there as well to make processes more efficient and accessible. The other question here is it up to whatever townships that are willing to subscribe to Municity? In that regard, yes. And what I would like to expand on in that question is we have, with Municity, because we have the unique ability here to, you can come in here and you can create unique users, you can create highly specific user profiles, you can choose what profiles have what access to what types of permissions and entities in here. So we have plenty of our clients who design their Municity database so that it has their municipal staff users that have access to everything, but then they also will have outside firms. So if they've hired septic or sewer company, those users can be added to their Municity database where they would essentially log in, view their inspection assignments, complete them, and then everything again is in kind of this home base of data. So that's one way that it can be conducted, which actually leads me into my next question here, which is Municity being used by any third-party companies for code compliance inspections? And I'm so happy to tell you yes. We have a couple of different inspection firms, one that operates out of Oregon, Washington, because it cross covers both states across a few different counties, I think maybe like 8 different counties. And then another one that operates in the southeast out of Texas that covers 3 or 4 large counties in Texas. How those operate is they have their Municity segmented for different types, and they have different jurisdictions with jurisdictional processes. They manage their permitting. So the way that those companies work is they intake requests and applications, they conduct the inspections, and everything gets reported back to the home municipality. So they do run those, and then we have different reporting tools in place for them. The only consideration there is parcels. So how do we get your parcels in? There's a couple of different tools we can use between GIS and other sources. So it can be done, it is being done, and it's being further refined. Next question here, are there options for embedding pictures and videos into the report? The answer to that is yes, that is available with the advanced licensing tier of Municity. So we went over a few items that are in the base tier today, but we do give you more customization options in terms of creating your printouts and documents. So if you need the photos that were taken on site or signatures that were captured on site to be pulled into a document, we can do that. We just do that with the advanced tier where we can customize the printouts a little further. As far as embedding videos into a report, I would have to ask development. So you would be looking for some sort of export with a link perhaps. And I don't know that that is available in the software currently, but I do think that is something that would be very interesting to our development team. One nice thing about Municity is that it is a living, breathing software, so we are constantly making improvements to it, constantly gathering information from our clients on how to improve it, and that's one that can certainly be brought to our development team. Are provisions available to conduct live or recorded inspections? So I think you're referring to remote video or virtual inspections. We had that in our uh, we had it previously in a legacy version of this product. The one we are looking at today, live video inspection, is currently on our roadmap, excuse me, being developed, as well as offline mode. The offline mode is 2027, as well as a dedicated mobile app, I believe, and then 2028, 2029, we'd be looking at live recorded inspections. With that, things to consider are obviously storage space as video gets bigger and better and more things opt to 4K, 8K. There's things to consider in terms of storage and quality and all of that. We do, as we partner with Laserfish, we're also resellers of Laserfish. There's a Laserfish integration with Municity. So we have some of our larger clients, such as the city of Rochester. They conduct their police body cam footage. They hold it in Laserfish, and it can be referenced to or pulled or viewed from Municity if need be in that regard. So there are workarounds to that as well. Let's see. Are there provisions to allow remote inspections with non-staff users on the field side? So in that regard, yes, I could open my inspection, and if the person was not on site with me, so let's say maybe the person who I'm doing this inspection with, they're like, hey, I'm available for questions, but I'm not going to be on site. I'll have my phone. That person can log into the public portal on their end, open the inspections, and you'd be able to open a live chat here with that individual. You can comment back and forth. You can send attachments. So you'd be able to have that. You'd be able to have that with that essentially live chat with that person if they were not on site. Our development is typically done in-house, but if you have specific questions on that, please feel free to email me. Could this be used for other inspections, not in ICC codes? Yes. We have clients specifically in the Northeast that utilize local municipal code over ICC codes. One of the things that I think I glossed over was that not only can we import the ICC codes, but we can import your local municipal code, particularly like an eCode 360. We have some clients that utilize Municode. Those can be imported and sourced. They can be pulled into your documents. So if you want to do your local municipal code, county code, other state code, we just need a digital record of it so that it can be imported into the system. I just bring up the ICC codes because as we are part of the ICC, those digital codes are included in the program, but we can of course bring in other codes, other types of codes. As you can create really any kind of inspection in here, we can make sure that it's tailored to your specific needs. Cross connection controls specifically. I would have to look into that is that a database that would allow us, essentially what I would be looking for answer wise is if it's a database that would allow their data to be pulled into Municity or if they would require some sort of agreement. In terms of data import, that would be really the hurdle there would be if they do not allow us to import that data. There are not ICC EDUs for this webinar, unfortunately. This is an informational session, but not an educational session. In terms of an integration with Salesforce, I would need to understand what type of relationship. Unicity has an API that can push data, so if you need things like permitting data to be pushed to Municity, or I'm sorry, pushed from Unicity into Salesforce, we could. If it's something like you need client records pulled from Salesforce into Municity, that's also an option, but we would need more information on that. And again, please feel free to email us so that we can talk more about that. Also, great questions, everyone. Thank you for the engagement. Anytime. Thank you for attending. All right, folks, I see questions are slowing down here. We'll hang around for another minute or so. Oh, how do we get a cost breakdown? Wayne, could you put up the contact information slide once
Yes.
more? Thank you. So what we're going to put up is our email address. Please reach out to us. We have a couple of questions in terms of your jurisdiction and users and usage and all of that, but we can get you a ballpark cost as soon as possible. Just reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to provide that to you. And again, Wayne is going to get that email address up on the screen for you momentarily. Thank you,
There
Wayne.
we go. So feel free to contact me at wchilds@iccsafe.org. I'd be happy to get you that pricing.
All right, folks. I think that is going to be time today. I so appreciate everyone's attention, engagement, and for spending an hour of your day with us. I'll kick it over to Wayne for his closing remarks, but thank you very much, and I look forward to talking with some of you, most of you, most of you.
Thanks, Maria. That's really about it. Just want to wrap it up again by thanking you. I know your time is valuable. So thank you for sharing it with us. And if we can help you find some solutions to save some more of that time at work, we would be happy to oblige. So we look forward to talking to you and helping you solve some of those pain points that you might be experiencing and how we can help you improve your overall department's performance and provide superior service to our constituents, which is definitely a mission that we share with you. So thank you very much for joining us today. Everybody, have a fantastic week. Thank you.